Now before you spunk out a load of cash on a super premium new Android tablet, maybe don't, because for just 399 quid, the Honor Pad V9 can do pretty much anything you need. In fact, at the time I shot this video, it was down to just £329 with the flip cover and a stylus bunged in. Not bad for a gorgeous, slender, lightweight metal beefcake. I've been having a bit of a play with the Honor Pad V9 these last few days, so here's my in-depth review, and for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Well, first off, let's actually rip it out of that cover so you can check out the design. Now, just like last year's Honor Pad 9, the V9 is a bit of a stunner. You've got a smooth metallic frame with a matte finish so it doesn't get all grubby no matter how much you handle this thing. And it's proper slender, as you can see, and lightweight as well. Measures just a centipede's codpiece over 6mm thick and weighs just 475 grams. So it's comfortable to wield even for extended durations. And yeah, at first glance, those bezels surrounding the screen do seem rather chunky compared with some more premium priced rivals. But that's actually a good thing because it allows you to clutch the Tab V9 without your thumbs encroaching on that display. So it stays responsive even if you're using it one-handed like so. And around the back end of the Honor Pad V9, it's certainly got quite a trippy design. When the light strikes it just so, all these wavy contours will come into focus, like you're staring at some sort of topographic chart. So yeah, if watching the likes of Adolescence and Black Mirror is proven a bit too bleak, well, just flip the Pad V9 around. Hours of joyful entertainment. But sadly, Honor isn't offering the most thrilling selection of colours for the Pad V9. You've basically got this white model, otherwise you can also snaffle it in grey. And still, I like this white model. It looks nice and crisp and clean and fresh, or at least it does right now after just a few days of use. And try again in about 12 months' time after my kids had a go at it. The V9 does seem reasonably rugged, doesn't feel like it'll bend or break too easily, although unfortunately no IP rating for water and dust resistance. And sadly, no fingerprint sensor built into that edge-mounted power button or the display. And so it's either slapping in a pin every time you want to unlock this tablet, otherwise a bit of face unlock using that front-facing camera. And this is reasonably dependable, although I did have to register my face twice, once wearing glasses and once not wearing glasses, because otherwise it really didn't like the alternative me. And of course the Honor Pad V9 comes with the usual optional accessories, sometimes bundled with the tablet. So for example, you've got the cover, which not only helps to protect this tablet, but also props it up. It's nothing particularly posh or sophisticated, just wodge the tablet in there, job done. You can incline it to various degrees. And if you've got the keyboard as well, this attaches to the actual cover itself. Bit of pogo pin action like so. And the connection is rather flimsy. Sometimes I'll be moving the tablet and the board about and the two will just disconnect. Just a minor grumble there, but the keyboard actually pairs up with the tablet using Bluetooth. So you can, if you want to, disconnect the keyboard, separate the two, and it will continue to allow you to type on the V9. And that can be quite handy if you're on a train or somewhere with very limited surface space. You just pop the keyboard on your lap and type that way. Connection's been absolutely fine, no lag for me. The occasional words will be missing a letter, but I'm not sure if that's just because I haven't quite struck the key with enough force. Not much travel in those keys, as you'd imagine for such a slender cover keyboard. The keys themselves generally well spaced and sized. Of course, at the right edge, things do get a bit more crushed as usual. You've got a dinky wee enter key. And there's no backlighting to speak of, so in the wee hours you are basically working by the soft glow of that screen. Now, while previous Honor tablets have often arrived languishing on old versions of Android, thankfully no such woes for the Honor Pad V9. As you can see there, the freshest MagicOS version 9 slapped on top of Android 15. However, Honor has only committed to quarterly security updates for the Honor Pad V9, and it hasn't said for how long you can expect these updates, or indeed how many OS upgrades they're going to commit to. I'd expect it to be no more than 2 or 3. You do have 256 gigs of storage, which is more than some more premium tablets I could mention, although sadly not expandable via microSD. And I was relieved to see that there's mercifully little crapware stuffed on this thing. In fact, there's bugger all Facebook or LinkedIn or Booking.bloody.com. Just a handful of Honor's own efforts, like its own app market, completely pointless because you've got full Play Store access. And Honor Docs, which is pretty good if you can't get online and use all the Google Drive stuff. And it's your typical Android setup with, of course, the apps tray. You got that Google Discover feed. And you do have a separate notification shade and control center, which makes a lot more sense on a smartphone with its limited screen space. I'm not really sure why it's separate here, given the control center has all this pointless blank space. You've got all the usual customization shenanigans and of course the obligatory AI, although to be fair it's fairly pared back and it's not slammed right in your face. It's more like wee snippets of AI, like for instance these recommended tools and features which pop up in the control center. Stuff like the Magic Portal, which has you dragging a knuckle around anything that interests you, and you can then quickly and easily save it. You can scribble notes on it, you can save it to your favorite space, which is a particularly handy way of storing reminders for upcoming events, things like that. Just think of Pixel's screenshots or that nothing essential space. So, you know, nothing revolutionary or anything like that, but, you know, at least it's not shoved down your throat here on the Honor Pad V9. It's just a few tools that are there if you want them. Now, the Honor Pad V9 sports an 11.5-inch LCD display slapped there on the front. It's a wee bit smaller, but also sharper than the Honor Pad 9's panel, with its 2800 by 1840 pixel resolution. Unfortunately, because it's an LCD panel, the contrast isn't quite as crispy as what you get on an OLED screen, and there is bugger all HDR support here in streaming services like Netflix. But the contrast isn't terrible. The blacks are reasonably blackish, and those colours are reasonably rich and poppy too. And thankfully, even though that screen surface is rather reflective, the display is bright enough to use outdoors even when it's rather sunny. You should only really struggle to see what's going on if you're watching a particularly murky scene in something like Black Mirror, for instance. The refresh rate maxes out at 144 Hz, so great news for supported apps and games. And of course, if you are sensitive to a bit of OLED flicker, well, no issues here as it is an LCD panel. And the Honor Pad V9 boasts a set of 8 speakers, no less, same as the Honor Pad 9 before it. You got full DTS:X Ultra support for a more immersive audio experience. And immersive is certainly one word for this tablet's audio output. Other words include bloody bags, that is proper loud, that is. The audio isn't particularly bassy, so I have found that music is best reserved for headphones, and action scenes kind of lack a bit of beef, a bit of, you know, proper kick, a bit of wallop, but it's certainly absolutely fine just for, you know, watching a bit of Netflix on the go. And sadly, there's bugger all 3.5mm headphone jack on the Honor Pad V9, so you're either resorting to one of those annoying dongly jobbies, otherwise got a bit of Bluetooth streaming, which seems to work absolutely fine. You've got respectable codec support here, bit of LDAC action, etc. Performance is provided by Mediatek's Dimensity 8350 Elite, which is backed by 12 gigs of RAM here on my review model. Everyday running on this thing, absolutely perfectly silky smooth, as you would hope. You can happily indulge in a bit of side-by-side multitasking simply by dragging out another app from the dock, like so. The divide can of course be repositioned as usual. It can be a tiny bit glitchy every now and then, I have noticed, but otherwise works absolutely fine. You can also get a third app on a go in a floating window like so, and the likes of Netflix will continue to play in a floating window while you crack on with other stuff on this enormous display. And good news for gamers as well, because the likes of Wuthering Waves will play quite happily on this thing. Obviously playing with touchscreen controls, not particularly recommended. I just gave it a go to see if the screen sensitivity was up to it, and sure enough, no issues. You probably want to hook up some sort of Bluetooth controller for comfort reasons. But yeah, the likes of Wuthering Waves played with a remarkably smooth and fluid frame rate, even when the action got rather heated, and even when I boosted the visual settings, stuck it up to 60 FPS. This tablet didn't struggle, it didn't overheat. The gaming experience overall pretty damn solid, and you do have a pull-out gaming toolbar which you can yank out to access a variety of features, including the likes of Do Not Disturb, you can lock the screen brightness, etc. There's no option for cellular connectivity, sadly you can't slap an eSIM on this thing or insert a physical SIM, so it is Wi-Fi all the way. There's a good bit of hotspotting of course. And thankfully the Wi-Fi connection has been strong and stable this entire time, no problem streaming video or gaming online. That is with the weird exception of Disney Plus, which just completely refuses to stream anything. I'm not really sure why, because Netflix, Sky, iPlayer, etc. all work perfectly fine. I tried reinstalling the app and everything, no idea what is causing this. And up here, just above the Honor Pad V9's display, you've got yourself a basic 8 megapixel front-facing camera, which can record up to 1080p Full HD video, no 4K option there. It's perfectly serviceable for, you know, your bit of video chat shenanigans, not particularly perturbed by strong contrast and such forth. You've got a dual mic setup in there, so your vocals can come through reasonably clear. Can't be asked to slap on a headset or whatever. And meanwhile, around the back of this tablet, you've got a 13 megapixel rear camera, and I've got absolutely bugger all idea why. And lastly, crammed into the slender chassis of the Honor Pad V9, you've got a 10,100 milliamp hour capacity battery, certainly a good size for a tablet that's just over 11 inches. And I found this gave me approximately 10 hours of mixed use on a full charge. That's generally split screen multitasking, sometimes playing a bit of music in the background. But of course, factor in a bit of gaming or some video chatting online, something like that, and that will reduce the battery life to more like 6 to 7 hours. Still pretty damn respectable, and that battery life is good enough to stream video non-stop on a long-haul flight to America. So, you know, great news if you want to keep yourself entertained, you want to keep your sprogs entertained. Just remember to charge it up well ahead of time, because you've got tediously slow 35 watt, I believe it is, wide charging on this thing, so it takes ruddy ages to fill back up. Not much fun at all. And there you have it, my lovelies. That, in a tasty wee nutshell, is the fresh new Honor Pad V9 Android tablet. And an awful lot of tablet it is as well for not much cash. Some surprisingly good performance, decent battery life, a perfectly respectable display, and a good bit of audio output as well, all packed into a slender, lightweight chassis. And just a couple of wee quirks here and there. Of course, you do have strong competition in the likes of the OnePlus Pad, the Xiaomi Pads. I've got full reviews of those right here on TechSpert as well. Please do poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest tech, and have yourselves a ruddy, wonderful rest of the week. Cheers, everyone. Love you all.